Welcome back to the All About You podcast. And today I'm joined by Megan Gaul, founder of the Partake Tailored one-to-one weight loss coaching program. Megan, welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thank you, Sheila. I'm so glad to be here.
Megan, I particularly wanted to have you on the podcast because we have got a problem in society with a lot of people overweight, obese, morbidly obese. It's a real problem. Yes, there is loads of information out there about nutrition, what we should eat, what we shouldn't eat, lifestyle choices. That message is not necessarily getting through. We all absorb information in different ways. I'm really excited to have you on board because you do tailored one-to-one weight loss programs for people. Let's talk about what you do, what brought you to creating this, how it works, and just let's get underneath the bonnet.
Sure, let's do that. I came to this, my background is in teaching. So I have an education degree. I started off teaching in New York City public schools. Over time, I started focusing on my own personal health journey first, and it was really my weight loss and my maintaining of 100 pounds, coming down from 235 to 135 pounds. That was the change in my life that made me want to start helping other people with this. Because to your point, the environment that we live in, it doesn't matter how much nutrition information we all take in. The society and the environment really does support many of us in the Western world to be overweight without even trying. And for me, the journey was so full of self-discovery that I really wanted to bring that same journey to other people. So that's what led me to create the program and to do it in a one-on-one way, which is my favorite style of educating anyway.
One thing I wanted to talk about, we've now got this weight loss injection. This is sort of the magic pill, shall we call it, that everybody has been waiting for. The diet industry is worth billions. There's always a new diet, there's always a new book, there's always a new regime. It can be a complete minefield. But the fact that you are working one-on-one, because everybody's weight gain journey is different, everybody has a different idea on how to go about it, what they should eat. Some people want a regime, other people know I want to do what I want but still lose weight. It's a minefield. Let's talk about this one-on-one. What makes that so different?
One of the things I've learned after 7 years of maintaining a weight loss, after, my whole life mired in diet culture, is that there are programs to equal the number of people pursuing a program. There are so many external programs we can purchase that are aimed towards weight loss. And some of them are more directly helpful than others. But what I've discovered after working with people and also talking to other maintainers is that everyone who's successfully keeping their weight off has created an amalgamation of many different things that they've learned. But the important thing is they've adjusted it carefully to fit themselves, to fit what they're willing to do long term. And that answer is different for everybody. And so because we're bombarded by all these pre-packaged programs that we can kind of try on like a suit, like a dress, we're never really prompted to take what works for us and discard the rest. So that's why I do it one-on-one, because I think everyone who wants to keep off the weight has to do that. They have to customize the things and the strategies from different programs that allow them to stay at an overall lower calorie average than they used to live at and eat in a way that treats their health like a priority. But everyone has to do that differently. So I love to get in the nitty-gritty of someone's life and kind of fit their program to them specifically.
I love the way you've said that, because often, we at the moment, most of us are in the summer season. We've had the what we call Operation Bikini,
Hmm.
early spring, all the magazines, TV, let's get our bodies ship-shape to head for the beach. That to me is a very short-term fix because a lot of people will do Operation Bikini, shed the pounds, go on holiday. Right, I've lost the weight, I'm going to eat and I'm going to drink and I'm going to do my thing 'cause it's my 2 week holiday. I don't think that's the answer. I think the answer, as you actually say, and you're the expert here, is we need to have a way to eat day after day after day that fits with our lifestyle, where our problem areas are. Some people will say, I cannot be trusted with chocolate. I just have to look at a piece of cheese and I'll put on 3 kilos. We all know ourselves. We all know which are our problem areas. We know how much we're prepared to put in to losing weight. The fact that you are saying this is long term, it's a lifestyle tailored to every individual. That to me makes 100% sense. This is my lifestyle. This is to know where I cannot be trusted. I mean, myself, my problem area is crisps.
Hmm. The
So
savory, crispy snacks.
savory, crispy, salty. So what I do, I will buy a tub of Pringles. I guess you have those in the States as well,
Oh,
Pringles.
yes.
I will
Hmm.
buy a tub, and in theory, I used to buy a tub a month. I would try and buy it on the first of the month, and I write the date on it. In my world, that lasts you 1 month. If you want to sit down and eat half a tub while you're watching something, that's fine. If you want to have one a day, that's fine. I have currently got a tub in the cupboard that is dated the 1st of May, and we are recording this on the 7th, I believe.
Yes.
It is unopened. I'm just going to polish my halo here.
That's
And with
amazing.
chocolate, I mean, crisps are my downfall. Chocolate, I buy a pack of individual little sort of chocolate squares, and I think there's 25 in a bag, and I buy one bag, that's it for the month. You can have 5 in one day, or as I currently do, I have one a day. I break it in half. I have two little halves with my lunchtime coffee. That works for me.
Oh, that's brilliant. And the way that you basically systematized instead of saying I'm going to measure out, 28 grams of Pringles every day. You systematized that without having to think of it every day. You said I buy it on the first of the month. I can have it any time, but it lasts me that exact month. I don't buy it before the end of the month.
And I
So you
think
created
for
your
me,
environment to serve your goal.
and this is interesting because I have got friends who say, if I have chocolate, I will eat the whole bar. That's so they
Hmm.
say, I cannot eat chocolate because I cannot have one square after dinner. I cannot, I would sit and eat the whole bar, whether it's a small bar, a big bar, they would just eat the whole bar. So they know they cannot be trusted, so they just do not buy chocolate. For me, it's a little treat whether I have it after lunch with a coffee or after dinner. It works for me. And I love the way you've actually labeled it. I have system, wouldn't a better word. Yeah.
Yeah. And you wouldn't go to Optavia and they would tell you that. They wouldn't tell you to try this way or this different way. But a lot of us basically have to experiment and find the strategies that work for us. And that means some mistakes along the way. And it's always easier to make those mistakes when you have a coach who can reassure you that it's part of the process. But I had something very similar where I discovered that certain things in the house were not a good environment for me. Like things like granola and cereal have been a long time coming where I was careful, I was skilled enough to be able to keep them in the house without being tempted to overeat them. But everyone has to find that for themselves. And I think it is a challenging way to people feel that if they cut it out completely, then they got a shortcut. Like then they figured out how to get to a low weight and not even have to struggle with the temptation. But often those people find eventually that they need to learn how to incorporate the things that they love if they want to keep the weight off. Otherwise, it's going to be an all or nothing, black and white. I'm either losing weight or I'm rapidly gaining weight, and we don't want that.
It's rather like exercise. I always say, know thyself. If you're a person that likes team sports, probably a yoga class is not going to work for you because that's individual. If you like individual, a team sport is not going to work for you. So I think dieting is, let's be completely honest. What are your danger foods? What's your eating lifestyle? Are you an emotional eater? And I think this is an interesting thing with women. We are quite emotional with food. If we are down, we will use food to cheer ourselves up. If it's a celebration, oh my God, let's go out, let's have a glass of wine, a cocktail, da da da. Men are not particularly emotional eaters. Men look at food as fuel. I think that's quite a big difference between the sexes in respect of maintaining weight, gaining weight.
Yeah, and you know what I kind of think is, because I agree with you, I think that women treat food differently than men on average as a whole. You know, obviously there's outliers, but I do agree with you that there's a big trend there. I go back to socialization and who the diet industry is targeted towards mostly, right? Would you agree that most of the diet industry is targeted towards women?
100%.
They know that we've been taught for our whole lives that a lot of our worth is based on how we look. That's an unfortunate reality that sometimes our actual material lives are made better or worse by how well people perceive us. You know, we're paid more. Often in the US, people are offered more money if they're fit or they look better. If they're more attractive, they've done studies to show the wage disparities there. But I think that the emotional component has a lot to do with how targeted the diet industry is towards women, because we are made to feel like food is kind of our enemy. And so we create this relationship with food where we put it off for as much as possible, right? We skip, we have less, we cut out things that we like. Many people do this all throughout their lives. I was just talking to a client the other day, a potential client who has been basically on a diet since she was 18. That's not unusual. And so we have developed this, because of the diet industry, this feeling that food is both excellent and also the enemy. And it becomes a coping mechanism. If it's your chosen coping mechanism of choice, then anytime you're stressed, you're going to retreat from, any diet or health focus and go into food will help me feel better mode. I think men do this too, but I think women especially do it in secret, because it's not necessarily accepted for women to go out and eat a large amount of food. Some people might look at her strange, to see a woman filling up her plate at the buffet. You can imagine you'd be self-conscious to do that, right? Because you're a woman, you've grown up this way. I think that it's a lot about how we've grown up and how we've been socialized. If food has become your main coping mechanism, it's an upward battle to try to find other coping mechanisms and heal from that. And I think that's what often has to happen before someone can maintain a healthier weight for themselves.
Megan, let's talk about the one-to-one process. Somebody has a conversation with you, look, I need to lose some weight, you've got to help me. What's the first thing you're going to do? Are you going to ask them to do a food diary? Do you ask about their lifestyles, their danger times? How does that work?
Great question. So I like to kind of immerse myself in the current situation. So I like to find out what's the day-to-day right now on the ground. And this is usually during an initial call, but before the person has decided they want to work with me. We'll go into, what do you feel is the top issue now? Is it emotional eating or grazing all day? Is it I skip meals and then I have an evening time, huge meal? There's many different things that can make someone reach out for help with their weight and their food. So first we get a sense of the current situation. As in the coaching process, one of those first things we do is start with a food diary, because it is so enlightening and freeing to be able to choose your personal places that you're willing to pull back, rather than taking someone else's rules. Weight Watchers, I only do, X amount of points. Rather than taking someone else's rules, you're basically creating your own rules. So we look at the diary as almost scientific observation journal. The person will kind of analyze, well, what is it that was more calories than I was expecting? Where am I willing to pull back? Is it the liquid calories? Is it the desserts? Is it the chips and salsa before the meal? I love doing that because it gives the power back to the person. No one's telling them what to change or what to cut out. They get to choose, what can I keep up for the foreseeable future.
One of the things with losing weight, I mean, if we take a typical person, done the food diary, they're probably, oh my God, I didn't realize what I was physically eating. And I think this is quite interesting with like portion sizes, because portion sizes, I mean, you're in the UK, in the US, beg your pardon, I'm in Europe, in the Mediterranean area. This is, we have the number one diet in the world. However, we have a problem with obesity here as well. And I think one of the things is portion size has particularly got so big. I know it has in the UK. And I was looking at a program the other day on TV about how portion sizes, plates, drinks, snack sizes have increased over the years. We generally will underestimate what we have eaten. Number one, writing down, and be 100% honest. If you're not, you're only kidding yourself. It might look the perfect sheet to someone like you, but you can see through the smoke and mirrors. Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you're not truthful on the diet sheet or the keeping the food diary, you are kidding yourself. I think that's number one. Absolutely be totally honest in what you're eating. Initially, when people get their sort of eating under control, there can be quite a dramatic weight loss because maybe they're really paying attention to what they're eating, when they're eating, how they're eating, portion size, that type of thing. And then you get on that plateau phase. How do you talk people off the ledge in this plateau phase?
Oh, that is a great question. So I think there's a few things that happen, different things that happen that we combine as a plateau, that we in our colloquial understanding, we think are plateaus. There's a few different situations. What I think of as a true plateau is if you are confident that you're in a calorie deficit, you've been slowly losing weight for weeks, for months, you know your calories, you measure your portions, then you reach a point where the scale is no longer going down at the same speed, or it stops for 6 to 8 weeks. That is often, and that's kind of what the main kind of plateau where you may need to adjust your calorie deficit because you've adapted to this new way of eating. So your body and your calories burned have adapted to that calorie deficit, so it's no longer as stark as it was before. But if you notice, you don't really know if that's the case until 6 or 8 weeks have passed. Anything shorter, we call it a plateau, but often it's the water weight fluctuations happening on the scale, which are very normal for humans, hiding the fat loss that's happening behind the scenes. First, I like to be clear with clients about what's a plateau and we don't know if this is a plateau yet. And that helps because then that person can continue being consistent when the scale is not moving long enough for the scale to then start showing the fat loss again. But then there's a third, and I think this is what you were speaking to, which was after that first period of I'm tracking now, I am eating much less, I'm losing weight, I'm losing 2 pounds a week, a kilo a week. After a few weeks of that, then what happens, and I think a lot of people call it a plateau, but really it's just a slowing to the normal pace of weight loss, which I would define as anywhere from, in the US, a half a pound a week to 1.5 pounds a week. I think the problem there is that our expectations are so shifted by things like The Biggest Loser and My 600-Pound Life. The examples that we see, and now with the GLP-1s, the examples that we see of people dropping weight at this 2 pound, 3 pound a week mark, that is not realistic for most weight loss, especially weight loss that happens slowly and steadily. Once that weight loss is under a pound a week, you then won't always see it until 2 or 3 weeks have passed on the scale. So I like to first teach my clients scale literacy of how to read the scale in terms of averages over time, rather than, oh, I was up 2 pounds and now I'm down 3 pounds, getting in that daily mess like the stock market. We don't want to get into the day to day.
I mean, that's a real big problem, isn't it? Because most women, you jump on the scales, oh, I've lost a kilo, fabulous. You get on the next day, I've put on 2 kilos. Hang on a second, I lost a kilo yesterday, now I've put that on plus an extra kilo. There are so many things that can affect our weight on a daily basis. Not only just what you've eaten, it could be the time of the month, it could be how did you sleep? And it's just, seasonally as well. It's not always just what you put in your mouth, it's what's going on with your body.
Yes, and there's a great blog article that I always share. I think the name is something like "Scale Fluctuations Are Annoying, Here's What's Going On." I think it's something like that. It gives you such a beautiful, with illustrations, a beautiful A to B thought process journey where you come to the end of the article and you fully understand what these scale fluctuations are, what the water weight changes are, and why you can't possibly evaluate your diet strategies based on the scale doing something over 2 days. You can never, and that's what we all want to do. We all want to say, well, I ate low carb yesterday, the scale went down, it worked. It's never the case that we are able to do that. We always want to look at the averages over 4 to 6 weeks and compare starting average and ending average.
I mean, one thing I wanted to bring up on this conversation, I mean, I'm always reading stuff about nutrition. And I was reading an article the other day about a lady who had began a weight loss journey on her own. She started sleeping better, her skin was clearer. And she said when she started to lose weight, and she was very, very sensible, she was just, I'm not expecting 2 kilos every week or anything. She said, I felt I was in control of what I was eating, and then I wanted to get in control of my life. And she said, I started looking at my finances. I started clearing out a drawer in the kitchen while I was cooking dinner. I then started thinking, okay, let's look at the wardrobe. And she said, because she got in control of one area of her life and she felt so much better I'm sleeping better and I just feel more organized when I go to the supermarket, that had just almost pushed her in these other directions, in these small pockets of her life. Oh my God, I just want to quickly sort out this drawer while I'm cooking dinner. And I just thought, that makes sense.
That's wonderful. And I want to say, and I would love to read that article, because I have a very similar experience in my life. I was in a place, before I began my weight loss journey, I was in a place where I didn't truly feel like I had control over anything in my life. I felt put upon. I felt like I was a victim of everything. What that taught me in that moment was I can't trust myself to do anything consistently because I know it doesn't make a difference. That's kind of how my brain was thinking in the moment. What I did when I started keeping a food journal and I started seeing myself keep that food journal every single day, and then I saw myself being able to influence my health and my weight, that taught me that I did indeed. Remember, Megan, you do have some control over your life. You do have the ability to make small changes and allow that to snowball into really significant change in your life. And it just shone, it was like a spotlight coming down, in something that was dark before. It just shone, I don't know, it showed me that I had control, if not perfect control, at least influence, and I could make things different in my life. And it sounds like that's what this woman experienced too. She got back her self-trust.
I thought that was fantastic. And I thought, yeah, that makes sense. Megan, what is one thing, if you could wave your magic wand over the diet industry losing weight, that you would wave your magic wand over? I mean, it's a big question.
Yeah. You know, I thought because I trained as a teacher, I thought immediately of kids, and I just wanted to wave a magic wand so that there would be no diet talk or weight loss talk or body talk around kids at all. I want kids to grow up knowing that their body is a wonderful thing, regardless of looks. It's they can be grateful for their body. They want to treat it well. They're taught how to treat it well, but not from a place of I've got to be smaller, the other kids in the class are bigger than me or smaller than me, but from a place of this is just what all humans do. We take care of our bodies and it's a wonderful thing. Because I think the a lot of harm and a lot of the people doing the Operation Bikini over and over and over again, I think a lot of that comes from childhood attitudes that were instilled in us by negative language, and especially for women. So that's what I would change.
Well, I think that's a perfect area to wave your magic wand over. Megan, just before we finish, what's one thing about your own weight loss journey that you didn't expect? I never said these questions were going to be easy.
Let's see. I didn't expect how much I would enjoy, how much my personality would change due to my journey. I didn't realize that I wasn't really a shy, socially anxious person that needed to stay in almost every night of the week. I'm actually a person who thrives in hanging with friends and hanging with acquaintances and going out and doing new things. And that was so surprising to me because I thought I was just a nerdy introvert and that was just the way I was. But the journey really taught me, one, it gave me more energy to go out and say yes to things and do hard stuff. But two, it gave me the energy to build my social circle and to become a different kind of person. So that was really surprising to me.
That is a brilliant answer because losing the weight just opened up your life.
Yep, it was the energy. It was the reminder that I could change things. I could, if I didn't like something about my life, I could make small incremental changes and it was amazing.
Well, I just love that. Megan, where can people get in touch with you? I mean, you're currently sitting there in New York, and with the wonders of the internet, you're working with clients all around the world. How can people get in touch with you?
Sure. So I have a website called, it's www.partakemealplanning.com. So PARTAKE, mealplanning.com. And I like to share that because there's a resource on there that helps a lot of people who are very similar to my clientele. So a lot of folks who I work with struggle with a habit of comfort eating or stress eating. So there's a resource there that is called Solve Your Stress Eating Emergency Kit, and it's really helpful to give you that daily protocol to slowly work on that for yourself and feel better about how you're treating food. That's the first thing on that site.
I absolutely love that because I downloaded that myself. And I just thought, this is brilliant because this is the sort of thing we can all put in our diaries or take a picture of on the phone. And when we're having those danger moments, okay, let's get it up. What am I feeling? What's just happened? What am I worrying about? And you can look at that. And that may save you from having a bit of a pig out session that you're going to regret in 10 minutes time. So I would honestly say to everybody, either download it and put it in your diary or take pictures and put it on your phone, because it's almost having like your own accountability coach. I love that, Megan. I love that sheet. I love it.
It definitely helped me. It's how I solved it for myself. So I wanted to put it in writing to help other people.
And then when we look at that, we can have your voice going through our minds going, what would Megan say if we're just about to have that chocolate or nosedive into a packet of crisps?
That's right. I'm here for you.
Megan, what a brilliant, brilliant conversation. It's absolutely fabulous. And thank you so much for talking about that stress eating worksheet, because I think that is genius.
Of course, I'm so glad to help, and I know what it's like to be in that situation. So very glad to share it, and I'm so glad that I was able to be on the show today.
Thank you, Megan. And I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone for listening. And I really do hope you enjoyed this conversation. Do download that stress eating worksheet, but it is such a useful tool. Take a picture, get it on your phone, and when you feel tempted, it's almost like having an accountability coach going, okay, why am I just about to nosedive headfirst into the chocolate? Yeah, download that sheet, and I think that'll make a huge difference. And do subscribe for future podcasts. It is completely free. And do share this podcast with somebody who you think might want to listen to this conversation. We just all want to be healthy. We all want to have a good life. So thank you for listening to our conversation, and thank you for subscribing.